Dottor Crivellaro, prego.
In inglese o in italiano?
In English.
So good morning, everyone. I hope you have a much better weather down in Bali than here in Brussels. Pretty rainy today. And I would like to thank l'Istituto Tecnologico Aerospaziale and the City of Bali for the invitation. Conscious that you may be now a bit delayed in your schedule for the meeting today. So my question is whether I should hurry up or what would it time available? Hello?
You have 10 minutes.
Okay. I'll be quick then. So just quick recap of the history with the EASA adoption of the EASA new EASA basic regulation. Drones are now falling within the scope of EU of the EU. Very quickly after this integration of drones within the scope of the EU competence, EASA submitted its opinion for a set of regulations applicable to drones, which were adopted in 2019. These are the famous Regulation 945 and 947. In 2020, the European Commission adopted the Communication on Sustainable and Smart Mobility strategy, which, among many actions, more than 80 actually, in order to lead to the decarbonization and digitalization of transport, two specific initiatives were announced for drones. One was the adoption of the Use-Based Regulatory Framework, which was adopted in 2021, and the Drone Strategy 2.0, which was adopted last year in November. There are basically three market segments when considering the drone sectors. And the first one, which corresponds to new concept and definition, which has been established at EU level by EASA, is the concept of innovative air mobility, which covers drones with vital capabilities to be used for application in urban environment, in congested airspace. And this innovative air mobility falls within the category of innovative aerial services. So basically, you have on the left side of the slides aerial operation. These are all the operations performed with small drones for inspection, surveillance, mapping. Drones, of course, existed before a long time. They've been there for a long time. But what is new is these new aircraft types, which are now allowing for operation in very low-level airspace. So under innovative air mobility, we have urban air mobility in congested environment, but also regional transport and international transport. This innovative air mobility covers both manned eVTOL aircraft and unmanned eVTOL aircraft. So you have on one hand the market with more drones for aerial operations, which is done by drone operators, whether for internal purpose or external purpose, and then the future development of mobility, cargo, and passengers alike. And the third market is the use-based market. And this is a fundamental prerequisite for the launching of BVLOS operation. Without use-based, it's more difficult to start operating scalable operations in urban environment, notably with drones of all size. And the adoption of the regulatory framework in 2020 should also allow for 21 should also allow for the harmonization of traffic management, and at the same time establish a competitive market for drones. The creation of a use-based airspace is based on an airspace risk assessment, which is being developed by the competent authorities. They are in charge of designating a use-based airspace. This can be triggered by different elements at the request of drone operators, but also at the request of local communities and cities. The airspace risk assessment will determine the necessary services and performance requirements, and the overall EU regulatory framework, which is applicable, is ensuring that use-based service providers and EU's drone operators are able to be subject to the same type of rules across the whole EU. The different players in the creation of the use-based airspace and the running of the airspace airspace are the authority for the definition of the airspace risk assessment, the use-based service providers. They have to provide at least a minimum set of 4 services, which will allow for increased situational awareness and facilitate the interaction between unmanned and manned aircraft, and allow for the safe integrated ATM and use-based traffic management operation. The Common Information Service, it can be single or distributed, will allow for the transfer of static and dynamic data, enabling the provision of use-based airspace. And the air traffic service providers remain in charge of manned aircraft operating in the airspace designated by the competent authority, and will ensure the dynamic reconfiguration of use-based airspace when a manned aircraft is entering a use-based airspace. Manned aircraft must be carrying a conspicuous device so as to allow the USSP provider and the ATSP to take appropriate action and ensure the dynamic reconfiguration of the use-based airspace. We are in the process of establishing use-based airspace at member states level because, as I said, they are in charge of defining the use-based airspace, but they receive also support from other partners like Eurocontrol and CSRGU, and also the network of use-based demonstrators, which also provides support in the creation of use-based airspace. And having now covered the 3 main areas, the small drones, the large drone for transport of cargo and passengers, and the use-based service providers, this brings me to the Drone Strategy 2.0, which was adopted last year. And it is based on 2 main areas. The first one is to further build the European drone services market. And the second one is to strengthen European civil and defense industry synergies and capabilities. Within these 2 main objectives, we have every time 5 action areas, which a number of flagship actions, which are 19 in total. The drone strategy also includes several recommendations, which are not mentioned here, but which are also addressed to other parties. What I will now present is those which are of indirect reach of the EU institutions and agencies like CSRGU, EASA, of course, and also partners organizations like Eurocontrol. So the first action area is to improve airspace capabilities, and flagship action 1 announced a proposal to amend the SERA rules, the Standardized European Rules of the Air, and also establish common requirements for providers of ATM ANS to allow safe and orderly use of drones in the specific and certified category, as well as piloted eVTOL operation. Under flagship action 2, the research undertaken at EU level in the field of CNS technologies include all technologies used for ATM, but also to support use-based, innovative air mobility, drone integration, as well as the higher airspace operation. So we want to, in the long run, ensure that there is an integrated system for both manned and unmanned aircraft. The second action area concerns the use of small drones for aerial operations. We currently have 2 standard scenarios, and flagship action 3 is pleading for adoption of new standard scenarios as they facilitate the operation by drone operators as they can then start operating without a prior authorization. Flagship action 7 concerns the rule for the certified category. We have at the moment for OEMs operators more than 77 projects in urban air mobility out of 242 globally, and therefore there is a need for having common rules for the certified category. These rules should be rolled out, covering the certification of the aircraft, but also the operators and the remote pilot. This new regulatory framework is currently under preparation, as EASA recently proposed an opinion to cover these operations. Flagship Action 5 concerns the rule applicable to certified vertiports, for which EASA will propose new rules insofar as they fall under the scope of the EASA basic regulation. The current rules for entering market access in air transport date back to 2008 with Regulation 1008-2008, and there is a consideration that those rules, economic rules and financial conditions for accessing the market should be more suited and tailor-made to the need of drone operators. So there is also a plan to review those rules to integrate the new unmanned dimension in the airspace and the entrance in the EU market. To facilitate sustainable and social acceptance, the European Commission funded a pilot project initiated by the European Parliament and currently implemented by EASA, which is the creation of an innovative air mobility hub, which will be a platform that will support authorities, cities, operators, stakeholders to implement urban air mobility in urban environment. Under Action Area 5, there is a need to ensure that there are sufficient skills and competencies available, drone specialists that will be able to operate the drones remotely. So having common rules for the remote pilot, which skills should be in line with the continuous advancing technological development. I'm now coming to the second main area, which is to strengthen European civil and defense industry capabilities. Here again, we work closely with our agencies, the European Defense Agency, which is associated to the implementation of those flagship actions. On the flagship action 9, the drone sectors being still at an early stage and requires further financial support, notably in research and innovation, in order to be able to reach economically sustainable maturity. So through the Commission funds and the European Investment Bank, there are tools available, financial products that can support innovation for drones and urban air mobility. And in particular, the European Investment Bank Guide to Finance for Drone Projects, which maps out the advisory and financial products that can be potentially used by drone operators to support investment in drones, depending on the area of the investment and the maturity of the market. Under Flagship Action 10, the Commission intends to set up a coordinated series of calls under existing EU financial instruments, including EIB instruments to support new flagship projects on drone technologies that can also provide synergies with the defense sectors. We also would like, as stated in the drone strategy, facilitate the exchange of between civilian and defense communities, especially in the area of critical technologies. So there will be also process to encourage dual use for research and development at EU level in order to implement medium to long-term programs for the development of those technologies corresponding to the interest of both the civil and the military sectors. In order to pave the way for that, there is a need to define a strategic drone technology roadmap, which is still ongoing as we speak under the Drone Research Center's initiative to further set out the priorities for research and innovation and identify the critical strategic drone technologies that needs to be further developed. This covers artificial intelligence, detect and avoid, the use of semiconductors, new propulsion system, C2Link, which are more resilient to cybersecurity, the whole issue of energy storage, batteries, and so on. Under Flagship Action 13, we would like to develop, together with partners organizations like Eurocontrol, at ICAO and ITU level, more radio frequencies available and protected spectrum for drone operations. Another article, Flagship Action 14, the important area, which is an important area, which is to develop a network of joint civil defense collaborative field testing of drone demonstrators in order to enhance the cooperation between civil and military, in order to optimize the use of airspace and facilitating trial operation, which can benefit to both sectors. So I think I've been disconnected, but I don't know for long. I hope you can still hear me.
Yes. Yeah, Doctor, have you finished the report? Have you got finished?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello?
Have you got finished? Yes. Okay. Thanks to Dr. Crivellaro, who illustrated us the work and